Hey, it's Soleil, and this is episode 19 of the Red Pilled Orange Pill Investor. And it's Friday, so it's expiration day. So I figured I would just go over each of the stocks that I own and look at the trades that I placed. So Tesla, Riot, Mara, MicroStrategy. Riot, Mara, and MicroStrategy are all Bitcoin stocks, uh, derivatives, I guess you would say. Riot and Mara being mining companies, and then MicroStrategy uses Bitcoin as their, I guess, what is it, their reserve. So if they have $500 million in cash in the bank, they would rather just own $500 million worth of Bitcoin. Not only that, they have a good credit rating, so they are able to get extremely favorable loans, and so they actually will borrow money to buy Bitcoin. So they would be considered a leveraged play. Now, 2 weeks ago, I was wearing a huge happy hat because this stuff was up, to 700. My account was, uh, you know, had made all these gains, gains, and then mismanaged my margin a little bit and had to add some funds because it has since crashed from 700 to 480. As you can see, my average cost is 447. This does not include all of the covered calls that I have sold. So let's just check the history. Yesterday's video was about this little snafu. But so today, sold the $500 strike for $930. And I picked that because I was a little bit greedy with the premium because I wanted to get some margin. Okay, my computer does not want to go back. Okay, there we go. Maybe I should have rebooted. I did not purchase any additional shares today with the premium that I collected. I wanted to get a little bit more margin buffer in case Tesla crashes during earnings next week, or in case Bitcoin continues to take a dump. I think it's down to like 40K or something. So anytime Bitcoin crashes, MicroStrategy is going to take a hit. The mining stocks usually take a hit. But so I picked the $500 strike because I think the price was around 480, 475 when I did it this morning. When did I roll it? Probably around here. Yeah. So I look at the price, 470. So about 10% is about $50. So 525. If I pick the 525 strike, that gives me 10% of upside. I could profit from an increase in the price of MicroStrategy all the way up to 525, but that's being pretty generous. I could have collected around 1% at 525, which I think would be a completely reasonable choice, delta of a 0.18. I don't know. However, I went with the 500, which is kind of like splitting the difference. So instead of going from 475 all the way to 525, I went halfway there, and I'm allowing for a 5% upside for callaway value, and I collected approximately 2-ish%. That was my thinking on that one. Let's go back to, I was going to look at all of my history. Let's just go back a month or two, maybe. All right, so today, collected 930. This one I actually collected 625, but I actually paid 1,700 after collecting 575 here, so collected about 1,200, paid 1,700, so this was a $500 loss for me over the last couple of weeks. Before that, I sold the 670 strike, got paid $13.50 for that. This was just me screwing around with like way out of the money covered calls. I don't really talk about this because this is just dumb, really. But it's fun to play with a little bit of scratch and lottery tickets type stuff. Sold this call for $23.25, January 5th. So I won't go back past like December. Collected 2,300 here, but this was back when the price of MicroStrategy was way up there. And so this is right when the price crashed. So I was loving life when MicroStrategy was $680, $700 a share, right? So if you're the buy and hold person, you have $70,000 worth of MicroStrategy, and then it crashes to 480, and now you're not happy anymore. However, if you sold this covered call for 2,300, another one for 2,300, that's 4,600, 4,700-ish. I didn't have to screw this up, but 4,700, 5,700. So you're still not happy. I mean, your stock crashed from 700 a share to 480 a share, but you've got an extra $6,000 than just the buy and hold person. Now, the other argument is that on the way to 700, the price absolutely eclipsed some of my strikes. And so I also didn't fully realize the upside up to 700. I didn't really go back and do the calculations, would I have done better? Buying and holding, to me it really doesn't matter, because with that extra $6,000, even at 700 a share, that's almost an extra 10 shares. So if I was buying MicroStrategy all along the way, I probably have 110 shares compared to the buy and hold person. And to me, that's the biggest advantage. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla was a little bit, meh today. So sold the 227. So 10% of the price. If I wanted that call away value, that would be around 232. So I averaged it down a little bit to collect $2.14, which is approximately 1%. Usually try to collect at least 1% premium. And like I always talk about, that would allow you to buy one extra share. But as I said, my margin, I screwed up my margin calculations and ended up having to make some deposits. So I did not buy new shares today. Riot, I had bought a couple of shares earlier 100 shares earlier in the week, and lowered my average cost down from 17-ish, I believe. And I went with, a lot of times when I'll add 100 shares, I do as close to at the money as possible on that 100 shares. And then with my other 100 shares, I give myself a little bit more call away value. So at the time, I think Riot was $10. So they give me about 10% call away value on this one, 5% on this one. Mars, more to the same. I actually, when I was getting into trouble with margin, I actually rolled these calls early, all the way to next week, so I did not have to roll these today. And that was when the price was a little higher, so that's why this 19 strike is so high. I could have rolled this down and collected a little bit more premium and gotten closer to this kind of premium here. But I went ahead and just let these ride, so I have a high call away value here, I've got a lower call away value here, and that's about it. So those are all of the new trades I've placed on my Robinhood account. And I think that's it. That'll do it for today. All right, be good, y'all.